Welcome, everybody, to a very special edition of Video Mojo with Anna Przy. Anna, welcome. So glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So we have a secret, which is that even though this sounds like the beginning of the vodcast, this is a retake of the opening because we had some technical issues. And, you know, I guess I get what I asked for in the sense that I'm always talking about Video Mojo as an exploration of the leading edge of video marketing. And so we're going to share with you the lessons, but I want to tell you that Anna is a very successful TikToker. In fact, when we had our first conversation, I noticed that I jumped around a little bit on your numbers, and I said you had 138,000, you had 137,000 followers. Well, I looked this morning, and now you're over 141. So it is growing quickly. And so, so she's a bit of a phenom, and I'm a fan. I was really happy to find her and to enjoy her poignant comedy that is really based on, I think, authenticity and vulnerability, and very relatable. So I appreciate you taking the time. One of the things that I thought was interesting in that conversation was you said that you don't usually talk with people about being a creator. Why do you think that is, and what you know, what do you think that video creators need to know based on what you've discovered?
I think that content creation it's not new, but the new kind of way that it's going, and I think sometimes how people see like content creators or influencers, it's just like it's a thing people make fun of, kind of, if you aren't in it and you're not watching it and you don't know the kind of stuff that people are out here producing. Like we talked about TikTok and just what a different platform it was than I imagined it in my mind. And I think that's kind of the same way I feel about not talking about content creation very often, is I don't really know how to explain it to somebody who hasn't digested any of it previously. And then when you're talking, you know, generally in a podcast or in an interview, people are asking you about you. So, I mean, I love the opportunity to talk about content creation because I have, you know, almost nobody to discuss that with in my daily life.
Wow, that's really interesting, and there is a little bit of a cultural disconnect too. That just because I want to be transparent with the audience in terms of the lessons that we've been learning. So one thing that we learned is you definitely want to do guest prep. And, you know, we've normally found that to be people that are less video savvy need an orientation to have good sound, to have decent lighting, and so forth. With you, I made the mistake of presuming that you would be on a computer, and the recording platform that we use, Riverside, is not iPad yet compatible. It's not iPad compatible yet.
Yeah.
And you showed up on an iPad, and I didn't realize. Go ahead. I mean, what was that like from your side?
It's so funny because since I started creating content, it's been on a phone or the iPad, and, you know, my editing apps are on my phone. So, you know, it's so funny. I just wouldn't have even thought to use a computer.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that the awesome conversation that we had, which got into the depths of, for example, a term that I had never heard before, which is algorithm abuse. And what does it take to be a successful creator on TikTok? Also, you know, brings us back to this experience of what does it mean to be a creator, right? I've been a video producer literally for decades and am, you know, at the leading edge, I think, of vodcasting. But TikTok is an entirely new environment. And, you know, maybe you can illuminate us a little bit more in terms of what you think is different about it. But it is clearly a whole new animal. It really is not Instagram and it's not YouTube. It's a whole new ballgame.
I think TikTok highlights normal in exciting ways. And where it's not like not necessarily written and produced comedy, you know, it's like just people talking and they're funny. I just find, TikTok is just kind of like normal life, a little bit illuminated. And it's a little bit less finessed, than YouTube or, people posting edited photos on Instagram. It's a lot more on the fly. People are filming themselves. People, I'm generally just trying to use like the sun to light my videos. And it's just like it's kind of a new way to create content. That's still, complicated and takes time, but it's less curated. Yeah.
And it has that conversational quality in addition to the authenticity. The thing that I took away from our conversation, I had heard many people talk about how if you want to be successful on TikTok, really you should be posting at least once a day. And, so I woke up to the fact I've been having it as a goal and, but not achieving that goal. And you made it clear to me that it's not like a maybe or a halfway, that once or twice a day, every day, don't miss a day. You even, will let the conversation speak for itself, but you talk about where people even back each other up in order to keep it going. And that is also different. It's different from Facebook or Instagram or other social media. And it is, the magic is the algorithm, but the algorithm is also causing creators to have to engage in a new way.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that. The last new question that I want to ask you is, you, I think, spoke well, and people will hear about the challenges if they listen to the rest of this interview. But you also said, and it's worth it. And I didn't follow up with you there, and I thought I'd give you an opportunity to talk about why you go to the trouble of posting at least once a day, and I think often twice a day.
It's for me, when I say like it's worth it, one, like it's instant feedback always. You have a lot of opportunities to fix it. Like say you post a video and it's not great, but you're watching it, other people are watching it, you have instant feedback, you post 3 hours later and it's better. So, I'm improving just as a creator every step of the way. And then on top of that, I'm improving as a person because when you're producing that much content, you're digging pretty deep all the time. Like if I can't come up with content, I'm truly sitting there like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling right this second? And we don't all take a lot of time. I didn't do that. Like, how are you? Like, how are you? So that you can talk about it. And so I just think like for my mental health and my creative brain, I'm growing, which I think I don't have any really other opportunities in my life to constantly be moving forward.
Wow. I mean, that is a powerful endorsement and not anything that I've ever heard anybody else say, although I have that feeling myself. And so I will say right up here at the top that I'm doubling down on the discipline. I'm even starting an accountability group and offering an April 30-day challenge because I want the support to do it myself every day, because I do see videos and I do hear stories of businesses that have literally exploded, like just gone through the roof overnight. But they had to post. This one woman I was watching last night, she is posting 4 or 5 times a day about her natural, eco-friendly products like dishwashing and toilet cleaners and all kinds of soap cleaners, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, they're like out of stock and, back ordered, and they can't deal with it because she found that moment where, as you said, the algorithm trusts you. So anyway, I really appreciate you being with us. So the heads up is that after the first minute of the original interview, which is just about to start, the video is going to go to a still frame, and it'll be like an old-fashioned audio podcast. For those of you that listen to Video Mojo on the traditional podcast distribution platforms, audio only anyway, you won't even notice the difference. I am going to spice it up with a couple of clips of Anna's TikToks to illustrate the kinds of things that she does. And I know that you're going to
cool.
enjoy this interview. Really valuable stuff, Anna. And I love talking about creating with you. And if you want to do more of it, you're welcome to come back because.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you again. And here you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Here's the interview. Well, welcome to a special edition of Video Mojo. Welcome, Anna Przy. So great to have you here. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. I just discovered you on TikTok last week. That's how
my
real
gosh.
time we're doing this.
Yeah.
And you are hysterically funny and doing it in a way that comes from your heart, I believe, and is about kind of revealing your human angst, if I can say that.
Totally. You nailed it.
Thank you. And that's part of what I think is really different about TikTok. And the one other thing I want to say by way of introduction is that I watched a TikTok the other day where the woman was dissing Facebook. She said, that's where people pretend that they like their relatives. And Instagram is where people want to look good, like, look how beautiful my life is. But on TikTok, people are real and are willing to reveal their foibles and their fears and so forth. And you do that in spades. And so how did you come to make a TikTok following, which now is what I think 135,000 followers, that's so based on humanity and based on kind of, pulling back the kimono, if you will?
I discovered TikTok, through like a younger cousin, and she showed me it, and I said, I'll never be on there. That wasn't something I was interested in. Like, I'm not getting that app. That's for young people. And then I downloaded it, and I was hooked immediately, because it was, like you say, nothing like anything I'd ever seen before. It did seem more real. It did seem more like people were saying things that mattered, and in a way where you can discover people that you can't get anywhere else, really. Like, that's the only reason I even have a platform, is it pushes your content to whoever, and nothing else does that. You can't really post a picture to Instagram and hope people will see it. And so I thought, I tried to tell people that too, since I've been on TikTok, like, hey, you're missing out. Like, people say they don't like social media, but this is kind of a different vibe. Like, and you get to curate it so much to yourself. So all of my FYP is so curated to just kind of quirky, sad people experiencing, life as it really is, complicated and complex, and, with a lot of empathy, but also, dread, just of everyday things, nothing out of the ordinary, which is kind of, what I talk about. It's just like, it's okay if you don't feel like you deserve to feel bad, but because your life isn't so bad. It's like, well, just existing is pretty complicated, and people don't really talk about that.
It is. It is. I love what you're saying about TikTok too, because it's funny that you said that you thought it's for younger people, and to me, you're a younger person. And I talk to people my age, and they have no interest. I'm not going there. I'm not going to do it. But it reminds me of my younger brother who said, I'll never go on Facebook, and now he's probably on Facebook more than I am. But so how long have you been doing this, and how did it morph into what to me seems like this poignant form of comedy?
So, it started as an accident, really. Like, I one day was like, I'm going to post. I'm going to do it. Like, I've been watching for 8 months since I got on. So this was like September 2020. So I haven't actually been doing it that long, and
no, not even a year and a half, really,
and
right?
So the first, of course, I did like a lot of research beforehand, like what works, like what do people like how long should my videos be, and so the first thing I did was a series called Pretending Like I Have Followers Until I Do, and then so like every day at the top of the screen it said like day 1 of Pretending I Have Followers Until I Do, and I just started making content as if I already had a huge following. So I just went into it like acting all confident, like talking to people who had no idea who I was, and 4 people were seeing it. And then it just kind of went from there. I just started talking about what was happening, and that was what really resonated with people. It was Thanksgiving was the first time I ever went viral, Thanksgiving of 2020. And I just said, I sang it, but I said, how are we going to tell them that we're never coming back to Thanksgiving because it's so much more fun at home where nobody makes you cry? Because I mean,
Where nobody makes you
holidays
cry.
are
That's
just
good.
so emotionally charged, and you would never see something like that on Instagram or on Facebook, like going to like somebody's always crying at Thanksgiving. Somebody's, there's always drama, there's family situations, and it was the first time people were like, oh my gosh, same, this is exactly how I feel. Like, it's been so nice to be home and not have to get into that. So then from there was just kind of how I continued to share exactly what I was feeling in the moment, which, is kind of how I got where I am.
Well, and you do that really well. I'm actually working on a course that is going to be something like Ignite Your Video Creator Superpowers. And I think that it's a superpower that you have to tell it like it is, to speak that vulnerably and that authentically. But you have no stand-up comedy, no acting, nothing that it was just the inspiration of TikTok that caused you to be that
Yeah, I
authentic?
don't have any experience like professionally, although I think that delivery that you're saying, the way that I, present things, I definitely have always had that because I was a bartender and a server for a very long time before I started my career, and I had more than one person ask me if I did stand up just based on the way I addressed a table or said the specials. Like, because everything
Right.
I'm a pretty self-conscious person, so I think the way I deliver is a little bit over animated and nervous. So it comes across, pretty comedic, the timing, but I think it really is just that I am that nervous and that staccato about things like that.
And you don't try and hide
No,
it.
no.
That's the kind of
Yeah,
beautiful
I
thing.
don't edit that out.
Yeah, that I think is one of the keys to your success, if I can say so. So, but you started in September posting, and you had a viral video within 2 months. Is that
Mhm.
right? So it's September and
Yeah.
November because you said it was Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That's remarkable, and I agree with you. By the way, I think it's worth reinforcing. There is no question in my mind as a marketing professional that there is no other channel where you can build an audience faster than on TikTok, and you're kind of illustrating
Yeah.
that. Well, I want to dig in a little bit to the personal nature of it. You've the other thing you've done that I think is remarkable as somebody that does have a little bit of a background in show business is you've got these signature lines,
Y-
right? It's like the Walter Cronkite used to say, and that's the way it is. And,
Yeah.
but you have already a couple signature lines and the merch to go with it. So you say, keep it up, cutie. I'm proud of you.
Mhm.
And maybe you should deliver the line
Yeah,
because the audience is
I
not going to get
keep
the,
it up, cutie. I'm proud of you is like was I think. Oh no, I probably said manifesting first, but yeah.
Hey, bestie, I better not catch you getting down on yourself for having a rest day on the couch or in your bed. Rest is required. It's not a reward for doing a bunch of stuff. You better give yourself a big old kiss and say, thanks for the day off, me. I needed it. You don't have to earn rest. Keep it up, cutie. I'm proud of you.
So the other thing about me is generally when I'm delivering content, everything that I write and everything that I perform, I'm talking to myself. You know, that advice, that thing I'm saying is to me. And so, that may be a little bit embarrassing, but for me, it's like, what would I want someone to say to me? And it's like, I'd want them to shake me and be like, keep it up, cutie. So, that's just what I
I'm proud
started
of you.
doing. Yeah.
It sounds like your mother. Is that what you want your mother to
It
say? Is
it's
that
definitely yes, it's definitely what you would want your mother to say. And I actually do have a smaller series of videos where I'm TikTok's mom and I say a lot of things that you would want to hear from your mom, just because, yeah, it's one of those things. If you didn't have it, it's nice to know if somebody else is out there. Like, I also wish somebody would have said that to me, so I'll say it to you.
Yeah, it's a nice sentiment. Although that when you say you're talking to yourself, the ones that end in "keep it up, cutie," I'm proud of you, are the ones you're
I'm
talking to
talking to
yourself.
everybody, but I'm also talking to myself.
But the ones where you're standing in the snow or in the field and end up saying it's called manifesting. Look it up. Um, that's my
Yes,
impersonation of you. Um,
it
those you're talking to God, is
I'm
that right? I
talking
mean, you're not really
to,
talking to
when I
yourself.
say it's called manifesting, look it up. I'm talking to whoever's looking at me saying, what is she doing? Because that's kind of,
No, no, but prior to that, when you're saying let's have a good day
I'm
or
just
whatever.
talking to, whoever. Powers that be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Higher power, whatever. You are talking to a power greater than
Yes.
yourself. Or maybe that's just my
No,
interpretation.
absolutely. Whatever force is out there that could get me the things I'm asking for, that's I'll take help from anybody.
Hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what I want, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I don't know what I'm doing. So if you could sort that for me, thank you. It's called manifesting. Look it up.
The takeaways that I would want the Video Mojo audience to get is one, you're opening yourself up to really tell it like it is, to be vulnerable and authentic, like to the max. Are there any keys to that help other people to be willing to do that? Because I know there's the epidemic of imposter syndrome, and you've somehow stepped right over that.
Well,
And
seemingly, I don't think anybody can step over imposter syndrome, especially if you,
well, but you're doing. I mean, that's the second thing I was going to get to is you're taking action. You are really posting.
yes,
So that's what people have to do to get over it is just do
yeah,
stuff, right? This is me. This is me doing
right.
stuff.
But how do you get
So
so
yeah.
vulnerable?
Any tips on how to do
Yeah.
that?
Uh, my one thing that I always tell myself, if what I'm saying feels like something I'm a little nervous that it's only happening to me, I always tell myself, like, if it's happening to you, it's happening to someone else. Like, I don't know who it is. It could be 5 people, it could be 5 million people, but somebody is going to see this, and that person is going to say, I thought that was only happening to me. And that's kind of my whole point, is like, I'll say it because I want other people to know other people have these feelings. I didn't really know that, my whole life, that everybody was also struggling, or, people were struggling. People were having these, a hard time, depression and anxiety and ADHD. And, nobody was talking about it. So you just went along and acted like you were supposed to and thought you were on your own. And, that's kind of when people are reacting or relating to me or in the comments, like, I thought I was the only one, like that, that also keeps me going. But my line that I say is, you're not as unique as you think you are. Nobody is. So there's no fear. You could say whatever you want, it'll usually go okay.
Yeah, in some ways, the scarier the better, because as you go deeper and get more
Yeah.
vulnerable, and people relate to that. That's this amazing chemistry. I love that people are saying, "I thought I was the only one." That's really a service. That must make you feel really good.
Completely. Yeah. And there was, like, when you touched on the imposter syndrome, initially, when I started getting a following, I was terrified, and I kept asking people. I said, I don't know why they're following me. And they said, well, what are you posting about? And I said, literally just what's happening to me. And that said, yeah, people don't know that other people are going through what they're going through. Like, and I don't know if I just didn't know that. I thought I couldn't possibly have something to say that nobody has heard until you say it and you find out how many people haven't heard it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the things that I love about TikTok is that I think that there's a lot of authenticity, and also people are having fun. I mean, you're particularly the ones out in the field where you're talking to a power greater than yourself. and then it's called manifesting. Look it up. You're having fun. There's clearly a joy in it, and that I find that broadly on TikTok.
Yeah.
But you're having a good time,
Uh,
right?
Absolutely.
Just
Yes.
checking.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a little cold, but other than that, I am having a good time. There's definitely something
And
freeing
you
about
and
that.
it is. It's great. And that's why I relate to it, I think, and why I think it was funny. I mean, you're just cracking me up when I first found you. So you have a day
hmm
job and you're selling merch. I don't know what kind of business that is, but and I'm not quite sure. I would imagine you would have endorsement opportunities at 137,000 followers
Yeah.
as of
I
this
don't,
recording.
well, so I am very busy. I work over full time. I own an event company with my brother, and we put on about 30 events a year. I work, 5 to 7 days a week. Uh, I'm up at, what Sunday I got up at, 4:30, and you work all day. And so TikTok and the content creation really is my fun stuff. My merch line, that's my fun stuff. This is what I'm doing for fun. Which is why I don't have a ton of brand deals. Not that I don't get offered. I say no because I really don't have the time I'd like to have for all of that, because I'm pretty tied down. Um,
So you're not thinking about getting into TikTok full time.
I definitely think about it all the time, but it's going to be it if it's possible. It's a little easier in the winter. Uh, and then the feasibility of leaving my career and the company that I own and that I've been building and have been at for 10.5 years. Um, I really found something that I love in the content creation, but that's a little bit fearful too. Making it my job, I get a little worried about that. Would it lose its fun for me, or would I love it even more because I'd have more time to dedicate to it, instead of feeling
Right.
pulled in
And
multiple directions.
a
Yeah.
riskier revenue stream, if you
Yeah.
will. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would encourage it. Not like I have any skin in the game, but it's. I think that you have real talent and that it's worth developing. So with a full time job, my guess is that your cadence is that you're posting about once a day. Is that right?
Yeah, once or twice, and about the same times. It's either a morning routine, which is in my car, and those are the days I'm at the office, or a morning scream in the yard, and that's before work. And then either in my car on the way home or in my bed when I'm home. So yeah, it's pretty regimented to the four free times I have in the day.
Because I think the cadence is another thing that a lot of people don't understand. And I'm still trying to ramp myself up to post to TikTok daily. That's a goal that I have at least once a day.
Yeah.
But my understanding from kind of everybody that I've listened to, I mean, is 1 to 3 times a day, which seems like an unimaginable amount of video to a lot of people. So why is that so important?
Consistency. Like if anybody asks, like, how do I grow? It's consistency, dealing with the disappointment for a while, because the algorithm doesn't really trust you until it does. It has to see that you're really going to do it once, twice, 3 times a day, and that you're going to do that for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then, you'll get a little bit more consistency in your views. And even then, sometimes not. But I say, if anybody ever asks, I say consistency. You have to do it every day. And I do think that's the most unsustainable part about it. That makes me, a little frustrated. It does seem like a little unfair of the internet to need that kind of contribution from its creators. because I think there is a lot of creator burnout. I kind of watched it with the first round of creators I came into TikTok with. Either, they're where I am, past where I am, or they completely fell off, 6 months ago. Just because it's a mental toll to keep at that and take the algorithm abuse kind of, and sometimes see absolutely no feedback from that, because it really is. I saw somebody say like 80-20, only 20% of your posts are going to make any significant dent, and the other 80% are just to keep you consistent.
That's a new term. I had never heard, algorithm abuse, before. I like the video where you went meta on that and said, be nice to creators because we're out here cranking it out every day, so to speak, and not everything is going to be stellar, but give us some love anyway. And do you want to say any more about that?
Yeah,
people don't understand what it takes.
Yeah, I don't know. People don't. It doesn't seem to me that they're talking about that. But like if you post, so I'll post sometimes like a friends only, and then other creators that I'm mutuals with, where you're like, hey, I'm super burnt out. I'm having a really hard time keeping up, and everybody same thing. Like I'm also super burnt out. I'm also having a hard time keeping up. And you're like, yeah, it seems a little crazy that we're all producing at this rate, but it's almost like if you want to do this, that's what you got to do. And I've seen now, which is so cool. And just like when I talk about how much the community aspect, I just love the TikTok community. People taking over, people posting videos for friends, like sending your friend your login and they post for you for 3 days, just to keep your content in the stream so you can take days off. I love seeing that part of the community. I also think it's a bummer that that's required to stay that on it. But people say, on the days when I'm having a bad day, somebody says like, well, what would you rather be doing? And I say, I still like this better. I still love this. So yeah. Like, would you rather quit?
And that is kind of the bottom line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, would you rather quit or would you rather deal with this? And I'm like, I'd rather deal with it. Perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is it is ultimately fun, even though it requires some pacing with your energy to not get burned out. Anything else of people that are aspiring to be video creators? I like that you use that as your title. And I do think that, the creator economy is this dynamic now. And I'm particularly passionate about video creators. Yeah. And I think TikTok is the fuel for that
totally.
Engine. And I appreciate your insights as somebody who is doing it.
I think,
yeah.
No, as far as like advice for someone who's trying to get into it is that even when it looks like it's easy, like I think people make it look too easy. And I think that's kind of part of the fear of getting into it. People are like, I'm scared to post videos because I don't want to deal with the backlash or the ramifications of the algorithm. If it looks like it's easy for somebody, it's probably not. And the other thing is people say like, oh, what was it like exploding overnight? And I'm like, I didn't explode overnight. It was one video a month would pop for a year, and you slowly grow that community. It is never as easy as it looks, I don't think. And I've never spoken to somebody who said, it was easy. But don't give up.
But
worth it.
Keep it up, Cutie. I'm proud of you.
You think you are. Keep it up.
And are you doing it all by yourself?
I am, yeah. Me and my tripod, I got.
Yeah, I was wondering. So when you're in the field, are you mic'd?
I am not. I am just screaming. That's why, people will be like, "Why is she screeching?" And I'm like, "Well, my phone's kind of far away from me. I want to make sure it can hear me."
The audio is good, and it's really good content, Anna. And I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad you're going to keep it up. And I think that it's great evidence of someone having what we call video mojo, and then really utilizing this dynamic of being human, of, kind of authenticity gets thrown around a lot. And I think it's really about being deeply human, and clearly what you're doing is coming from your own soul and your own angst and your own process, and living life the way you're living life.
I'm glad that comes across, actually. You put it really eloquently, but I've never really heard it said back to me. Like, this is what you're doing. And it's like, oh, that is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's what I think more of us need to do, because there's you said something in the text that you sent me earlier about being anti-hustle, and even though we're talking about something that's challenging, if you're having one video that pops out of 30 that you do during a month, that's really tough.
Mentally tough, yeah.
It's tough to do 30 videos in a month, and then tough to only really get the reward one time out of those 30. But you said the last question that I have is about, you said, until the algorithm trusts you. So did you actually get the feeling, the algorithm's not a person.
No, of course. But
we know that.
It's there's just a point where there becomes a more average number of views that you can expect. And that's to me where I would say the algorithm kind of trusts me now, that my content is consistent enough. But you do notice if you take 2 days off or something, it takes 2 weeks to get back in the rotation.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's
that is really interesting information. Wow. So I really, in order to get to truly daily, I'm certainly going to have to batch so that there's one there for each day.
Yeah, and that's a problem I have is that I don't batch because everything I make is in the moment, which I think is part of its magic. So I have to wait until something hits.
All right. Well, thank you for, your consistency.
Yeah, thank you.
As well as for your humanity, and for taking the time to talk to me and Video Mojo.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was nice to talk about creating.
Absolutely. Well, we'll stay in touch, and I'm certainly going to keep watching your videos.
All right, thank you.